Ugh. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Well, a couple people told me to watch old Sassy Pants over here talk about the old Charlie Kirk situation. Of course, we know he's an expert, but I just highlighted a few little areas here that I wanted to touch on and discuss. So let's get started. Let's here's the first little clip I wanted to talk about here.
Because everybody's a bullet expert now. Every YouTuber's now suddenly a frickin' bullet expert. I want to make it clear, perfectly clear, and I'm probably going to have to prove it. It is not hard at all. I thought it was around 200 yards, which is an incredibly easy shot with a bolt action rifle with a scope, especially if you got something to rest it on.
Oh, yeah.
But it turned out it was only 140 yards. Jiminy Christmas, guys. Anybody could make that shot.
Anybody.
Stop this nonsense. Stop it.
Stop it.
Anybody could make that shot. Anybody. A girl that has never in her life ever held a weapon. You could show her how to hold it, show her what to line up, and she'd probably nail it in 2 shots, right in the red.
Right in the red.
140-yard shot with a scoped bolt action rifle.
Yep.
Is uber easy.
All right, a couple things. Yeah. That's not that hard of a shot for people that shoot, that know, you know. But let's talk about a couple things. All right. Yes, 140 yards. But you're talking about a shot that's on a descent. You're talking about wind. That's a variable. Not only that, you're talking about a cold bore. So you're taking a first shot out of a cold bore, which does make a difference. All these things make a difference. So you've got to assume this guy can adjust. You know, it's not like you have a scope and the thing's just set up bang on and, you know, just line up the crosshairs and boom, pull the trigger and you're done. All right. Then, you know, the most dynamic part of the situation here is shooting at a shooting range at a target. Paper target is one thing. You're sitting there about to pull the trigger and shoot at human flesh and take a life. So I don't think that can be simulated. You know, I've never done that. I've never shot at a human with the intent to kill. I don't know. I just know that would most likely induce stress, which we know that when the body's introduced to that amount of stress, to your fine motor skills, you know, kind of go to shit. Anybody that's been in a situation where stress levels, you know, especially in like a life or death situation, know that everything you're hearing, I mean, everything is complicated in that scenario. So you got to take that into consideration. But this guy he's a damn badass, because what he says next here is just amazing. He's so good. He's going to one up it even further. He's going to show you how easy it is by this next statement here.
Yeah, there was no need for him to take it apart. But yeah, you're right. Making that shot, 140-yard shot, easy peasy. Anybody telling you otherwise literally has never shot a gun. I'll bet you I could do it with a pistol.
Oh, with a pistol, huh?
To be honest.
Oh, yeah.
I think I could red dot 140 yards with a pistol.
Yeah. Yeah. I tell you what, PBR, you badass fucking dev group, like, you know, extreme operator, Delta Force motherfucker. Why don't you go out and at a damn human silhouette target, give me a headshot at, I can try one at 25 yards. to start. Yeah, just do one at 25, not 140, 150, or 50. You know, you couldn't hit the broadside of a fucking barn at 150 with a pistol. You've lost your fucking mind. In that kind of situation, in that dynamic stress environment, you're insane. This next clip is where the title comes from, which is stick to what you know. And in this case, it's getting your fudge packed, not quote unquote packing ammunition. What he's referring to is reloading. And I've got quite a bit of experience reloading ammunition. And the statement he makes here is fucking ludicrous. So let's hear it here.
People pack their own bullets.
Yeah.
I can tell you for a scientific fact.
Scientific fact.
Most of the bullets you pack at home have about half the velocity of the ones that are packed professionally.
What the fuck? Half the velocity, guys. If you pack them at home, it's half the velocity. Oh, for those of y'all that don't know about reloading, there's a couple reasons to do it. Well, two main reasons. All right. One is to save money. The other is for accuracy, and not only accuracy, but consistency. So when you have machines loading bullets, they're accurate, and there's some match ammunition that's a lot more accurate and more care is taken into making the round. But when you do the shit by hand, and you've got a scale that's incredibly accurate, you weigh gunpowder in grains, and there's formulas. X amount of grain equals X amount of velocity. I load ammunition that's subsonic and supersonic. If you're shooting with a suppressor, subsonic is below the sound barrier, or the speed of sound. And if it's above the speed of sound, you get this crack from the gun. It's a lot louder. If you're suppressing something that's subsonic, which is below the speed of sound, it's a lot more quiet, and you can get it down to almost a whisper, depending on what it is. Some rounds are subsonic by default just because of what they are, that are heavier, like 45 ACP. That round is subsonic, just as it is. And it's around 1,100 feet per second. That's about what the speed of sound is. So, you've got stuff like my 300 Blackout. That's the main reason I started loading. You've got subsonic stuff that's just right under 1,100. And then you can load it supersonic where, get it up to 1,600 or 2,000. But there's definitely upper and lower limits on things. And in your reloading manuals, like I said, it's down to the grain, which is what makes it accurate. So I can take stuff that I've loaded, put it on a chronometer. Or is that what that is? Chronometer. And you shoot it through this arc, and it'll show you the speed, leaving the muzzle. And shit, I've loaded stuff before, 5 rounds that was within 3 feet a second every round, which when you're loading to like 1,100 or 2,200, whatever it is, that's pretty fucking accurate. Whereas you're going to have a lot more of a spread in that velocity with factory loaded ammunition. And now not all is created equal. He goes on to say that that the rounds, the gunpowder goes bad or whatever. If gunpowder is stored properly, in a dry, cool, dark place, it'll stay good for a lifetime. Same with ammunition. Anyway, but this whole video, he's trying to make it seem like people coming up with conspiracy theories or alternative theories are crazy. But, he kind of developed his own inside of here, saying, well, it's Antifa. We know it. It said it. He said all the text messages were AI generated. It's a fact. He's developed his own theories, which are fine because he came up with it. But anything else that anybody else has presented, or any questions that they have, is just stupid. And, he's getting after people in the chat that are like just not necessarily coming up with a theory, but just asking questions. And I think that that's fair in this day and time when we've grown more and more to not trust the government and what's told to us from our mainstream media sources. Again, I think this whole thing was done as a matter, to control media. Like I said in the other live that I did, I think all this comes down to power and influence of individuals. And when you have mainstream media sources, that's a narrative. Whatever narrative they're pushing on there is, like I said, it's coming from somewhere. That's why all the networks, even Fox, lump them in with everybody else. You get the same story. In a lot of cases, it's verbatim, like word for word. That's with the Associated Press. These articles are written, and then they're distributed through all these different networks. Like I said, so whoever owns these networks, the powers that be, control what the media is. They can pretty much make the news or expose what they want you to see. So if you have somebody, like I said, this day and time, you have people that, because of technology, can have an iPhone in their pocket and a YouTube channel, and sky's the limit with how popular they get. I mean, they could build an audience of 10 million, 20 million, 50 million. Again, sky's the limit. And that's dangerous for folks that control the narrative on the news. And that's just, I would say that's a fact. That's my opinion. But anyway, I just figured I would go over that. It's a scientific fact. So yeah, I'd love to see this badass get out there and show us a 140-yard pistol shot. He said he'd have to have a red dot on it, which, yeah, that's fine. You could have a red dot on it. No problem. One other thing, too. I've heard this fucking jackass. Let me see if I can find it.
Charges you.
Let's see.
10% of, but it's not easy. Can't believe that they would do it because he don't have a snowball's chance as hell. Son of a bitch in piles.
He keeps referring back to Upchurch, and
but then there's reality.
A
money tree, playing house, and the day will come when you run out of version.
So,
the songs that he, and then at the end of the week comes, Israel Bully, Tim Swartz.
Oh, here we go.
And it was only because they didn't have a lawsuit, and when it looked like, because they're really lucky. I'm going to tell you.
Here we go. He's about to talk about Rusty and Power Stroke. So let's listen to this here.
Them Swartz are so fucking incredibly lucky. Because there was a time when it looked like they were going to get included in the lawsuit. And it was only because they didn't have shit.
Okay.
And they owe for everything they got, that there was no point in trying to sue them because they'd just run out and filed bankruptcy.
Is that right? Well,
they didn't have no assets to seize. They owe money on it all.
That's your move, motherfucker.
That's the only thing that saved their ass.
Is it?
That was the only reason it kept me from suing his fucking ass.
Tell us more.
Trying to have me falsely arrested, lying to the fucking police. Through his goddamn teeth.
Okay.
Lying on a police report and then signing it.
Tell me more.
It would have been a slam dunk. The only problem is they don't have nothing.
Okay.
Nothing to sue them for.
Okay. All right. So let's say you've heard this asshole say this thousands of times. Rusty's lied on police reports and falsely arrested and blah, 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 blah. Let's talk about how the criminal justice system works. You do something stupid and you make a fake pedophile website and publish it and, say it's not coming down, and you give conditions onto, what will let it come down. And you start, issuing these demands and whatnot of what you need to happen for this to come down. All right. If somebody has done something to you that in fact is criminal, you file a complaint with a police department. The police department then looks at the evidence, at what's there, and determine if there's a case. They determine if there's enough evidence there to, present charges against the person. So in this case, they did. They looked at the evidence, and it was overwhelmingly there that you were fucking guilty. 100%. No snowball's chance in hell, like you just said, of getting out of it. So if these were false charges and false bullshit, then why did it go to court? Why did you decide that you were going to take it to trial? Then at the 11th hour, you changed it to take a fucking plea deal. If you were innocent, you wouldn't need to plea. Under the agreement of your plea deal, you were basically had a gag order for 6 months. Couldn't say shit about certain parties. And if you did, then, punishment and penalties would be imposed if you broke that. So while you were not found guilty and charges were eventually dropped, you took a plea. You copped to a plea, because if you would have gone to trial, they would have fucking fried your ass. That's why. And as far as assets and stuff and owing people, I don't know about all that, but I do know this. I know that those are two hardworking men that are fiscally responsible. And we've seen your financials. Boy, I hope that you piss Rusty off so he goes over those financials. Because that's what really wraps the story of PBR together. That's what wraps it all up in a nice little bow, and you can kind of see that everything is 100% fabricated. And you can see what a lifetime of narcissistic behavior, snap decisions, and, emotional decisions, where that gets you. To use your word, it's fucking egregious. Simpleton. Anyway, y'all take care. I love smacking this old perv around. So yeah, stick to getting the fudge packed instead of packing bullets. And keep that white blood cell count up, bud. All right, y'all take care. Goodbye.